This somatic exercise will release anger in just seconds. But not only that, it also teaches your nervous system what to do with anger and sets you up for deeper healing. Anger is just raw self-protective energy in your body. It exists to set boundaries. So when someone crosses our boundary, physically or emotionally, energetically, the body will mobilize anger to reassert its boundary. But the problem is that most people are really uncomfortable with anger, with confrontation. And so they actually dissociate because they're uncomfortable. They start to get some of the feeling of anger or irritation in their body, probably below conscious awareness. And then they check out. And then the anger, because you're dissociated, the anger then takes over. It hijacks you. And so you need to get really familiar with the anger terrain. You want to learn that anger can actually be a safe energy that can work well for you and not actually cause harm. It's kind of like how a martial art master rarely actually fights because they're comfortable in the domain of fighting so that they know how to handle situations where they don't actually fight. You don't want to react from your anger. That's just going to make you learn that anger is not safe again, and then you'll further dissociate from it. So it's really important to map your anger out, get more comfortable with it so you don't actually act out of your anger. Mastering your anger can actually look like being present with your anger, present with the sensations or the energy of anger. So we're going to do this exercise, but what this exercise can do and can show you is how to release anger without even doing any kind of exercise. You can just watch the energy come up and move out. That's what I used to be very angry. I'd get angry all the time, and I started learning how to do this, and I'd feel the anger, and I'd let it come up, and I'd let it move out my arms and out without actually even moving at all. Be on a plane, be anywhere, not do any movement at all, but just let the energy come up and out. Right? Energy usually wants to discharge out of the body in one of 5 pathways. It wants to leave out the hands, the feet, the head, the tail, or sometimes the skin when it's hot. Usually anger comes up the spine and out the hands like this, and just this push. Sometimes it's, of course, out the legs, or it has other ways it can discharge too. But for purposes of this, we want to teach your body how to do this, how to release anger from your body, even just on an energetic level. So first we do physical, and then once you open the channel where anger can now flow out of your arms, then you can just start playing with the energy of it. So it usually gets constricted between the shoulder blades. So what you do is you go over to a wall, or you can just do without a wall, and you just push your hands out like this. And as you push your hands out, you can say, this is my space. Or sometimes it's helpful to even say your name. I'm Daniel. This is my space. You can't come in unless I invite you. This is one Peter Levine likes to say, but it's this is my space is the movement of it. This is my space. And so if you want to do it against the wall, go lean against a wall like you're doing a push-up against a wall. Lean against it and give it a little bit of body weight leaned in and push out so it's kind of easy. And then you want to lean a little bit further in, put more of your mass on your arms, and then push harder. So you want to progressively increase the difficulty of the pushing out. And that difficulty can help really open the channels of anger. So you don't want to push yourself so far in that you can't push out. That defeats the purpose of this. The purpose of it's to open, but you want to find that threshold of maximum resistance that you can tolerate. So you want to start with very gentle pushing out. Okay, it's easy. And then get a little harder, push out, easy. Push out a little harder, push out again, a little harder, push out again, even harder, and then out again, even harder. And then push out as hard as you can. Go, go, go. Push, 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 push. Push, and then relax. And see what you notice in your body. See if you can feel energy, feel sensations in your arms. Feel energy moving out. I used to do this in hospital settings sometimes with people, and they'd feel like a buzzing. This one guy was like, it's like I'm the Emperor in Star Wars. I feel like a lightning coming out of my hands. He had a lot of anger. Right? But just see how it is for you. And I'd be really curious to hear how this was for you or what you notice in your body. Give it a second here. You can do it again if you want. If it feels really good, great. Pause, do it again, and then come back and comment. Let me know how this was for you, how you found this, or what sensations were present in your body? You're feeling a tingling, a warmth, a discharge. Did it get stuck? It's like you couldn't get very far with it. Maybe you're a little frozen, or maybe you have more blocks to work in your shoulder. If that's the case, maybe it was too much doing the wall push. And you can even see how it is to just have your hands up like this or out, see if that feels comfortable. And you can feel the distance between your hands and your body, right? So you're starting to feel your space, your kind of energetic space, or your personal space bubble, right? This is my space. And just notice what happens inside. If you want to do this with somebody else and you're really blocked, what you can do is have someone put a hand in between your shoulder blades, and that can, like a warm, supportive touch, and that can like kind of help open the shoulder blades so the energy can move forward. Usually it's stuck like in the shoulders or shoulder blades. It gets stuck there. You can have somebody else like actually stand in front of you while you do it. That can make it more intense. Or you could just do this and have someone stand in front of you, or imagine someone standing in front of you, and then feel what happens in your body when you do that. All kinds of things can happen. A lot of times anger is secondary. Anger is a primary self-protective response. So in psychology, a lot of psychology, they say anger is always a secondary emotion. There's something underneath it. And anger can also be primary because it's a self-protective energy, but often it is secondary, where you do anger, you get release, and then you feel sad, or then you feel the feeling that's actually underneath your anger. So what you can do is just try to stay present with that if it's not too much. If it is too much, come back out, let your eyes kind of orient, try some of these other somatic exercises on my channel here, the gentle exercises to re-regulate, and then you can come back to this and work this in a way that's comfortable for you. It's really important doing nervous system healing work, nervous system work, that you don't push yourself too hard. The nervous system doesn't like that. It doesn't learn very well when you push it. It learns much better through gentle kind of re-entrainment, gentle work, showing it it's safe. You want to signal to it it's safe. And say, what are the signals? What do I see, visually, hear, what, even taste, smell? What brings safety to my body? And then you want to imagine that, or actually go do something that feels safe. Maybe cooking something feels really safe. You smell cookies, you feel safe. It reminds you of grandma's house. And then you want to just take that in, internalize it, feel what it's like in your body, get really present with that. And it teaches your nervous system, okay, we're safe here. And then you can come back to doing the exercise if you want, or not, or come back to it another day, because it can be intense. Other people, it's not intense at all. Most people, it's really pleasurable. It can feel really good to finally have your boundaries, because they're your boundaries. You're back in touch with yourself. But if you have developmental trauma, especially, I talk a lot about healing developmental trauma in my trauma alchemy program and in my live practitioner trainings. So I'll leave links in the description if you're interested in that. But some developmental stages, you learn it's not safe to be here. It's not safe to exist. So my taking up space is not allowed, right? And what can end up happening there, or it's not allowed, or it's just not okay. It can feel terrifying. And what happens there is that usually you might be more of a passive person. You might be like collapsed in yourself a lot, but then you get really reactive with your anger. Eventually it explodes out in a way that's really destructive. So that's not helpful either. So you got to learn this gentle, it's okay to take up space. It's okay to take up space. In my program, I use developmental rhythms and developmental task completion. Like, we need to come into the world. We need to see that the world is safe. So you might need to do that for a while to help bring your system forward in time. Developmental trauma very much can heal, but the trick there, it's usually complex, and the trick, it's not really a trick, it's just kind of how it is, but you need to address it on multiple levels. You need integration on multiple levels. So there's kind of like a psychology layer of like your mind knowing that it's safe, but then really your body, and then you need to do physical retraining, help your physical, there's different exercises you can do that help retrain your physical body to no longer be in kind of the developmental structure of, so like one is like, in one developmental phase, the shoulders roll in, the pelvis collapse. Like if you've had a helicopter parent, shoulders roll in, pelvis collapse. You don't know that, like, okay, I can actually do in the world. You don't have access to your arms or your legs, your agency. And so that developmental phase, like very real, lives in body structure, and you can do these different exercises that help those areas where you're collapsed or frozen start to open. Usually, if you experience terror as the right to exist, like the right to exist is terrifying for you, then you're usually stuck in an earlier developmental phase, which is that of the like, is the world okay? Is it safe? Is it safe to be here? And that looks physically, I talk about it in other videos on YouTube, but that looks physically like a concentration of energy in the eyes, or a kind of an absence behind the eyes, and usually more of a cylindrical, like a thinner physical body, and usually like lack of embodiment. Usually you're not really in your body, you're primarily in your head. And so there's ways to start to bring the physiology, the psychology, the nervous system, all of it forward in time. But again, you just need to make sure to address it on multiple levels. A lot of people do developmental work, but they don't really hit the multiple levels. A lot of people miss the retraining, physical retraining, or they just do physical retraining and they don't address the other elements to it. So just kind of an interesting aside. So if you're interested, I'll leave the links in the caption there. You can sign up for the wait list for those things. But if you found this video interesting, make sure you check out this one here. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the little notification bell. It really helps smaller channels like this start to grow and helps good information get out there. And if you can do that for me, I'll do my very best to bring the highest quality content here to YouTube for you. So look forward to seeing you very soon.